Well, hello, folks. Welcome to another episode of the Hold Fast Garage. This episode, of course, is the answer to life, the universe, and everything. It's number 42.
Word.
Okay. My name is Aaron, and I'm an amateur, as we've stated many times before. Now, what I'm not an amateur on after spending 20 years in the Navy is knocking off rust, priming, and painting some bare metal. So, that's what we're going to do today. Yesterday, I pushed the beast out here pulled the beast out onto the driveway. I gave the engine bay a good wash down, sprayed it out with Simple Green, trying to get some of the goop and grease and grime out of there, and I did. I got a lot of it. You can see the remainder is still here on the driveway. I also have the transmission support cross member laid out there. I was doing some work cleaning that up too. First thing I'm going to do, actually, I sprayed some WD-40 Go Juice on the motor mounts, and I'm going to pull those out because I'm going to replace them. They're like $16 a piece, so might as well while I got the engine out, might as well do that. I don't know that they're bad, but why chance it, right? And once I get those knocked out, then I'm going to go at it with a wire wheel and get some of this rust knocked off. I almost said nust rocked off. That works too. It's a beautiful day. It's Memorial Day weekend, and I can't think of a better way to honor the sacrifice of those who've given the last full measure than enjoying a beautiful day, drinking a nice cold beverage, and doing some work on a project car. Seems like the right thing to do to me. So we'll get after it. All right, well, Got the baseball game in my ear because, you know, again, Memorial Day weekend, right? What's more American than baseball and wrenching on a car and having a frosty beverage? I'm happy to report that the Twins are currently up on the Kansas City Royals, 1-0, working on a sweep, so that's good. So here's what happened. The original plan was just to knock some rust off, get some primer down, and maybe some paint depending on how it went. And I changed my plan, and I decided to start trying to take the motor mounts out, as I mentioned, because we're going to replace them. Well, what I didn't realize is that instead of nuts on studs, they're actually nuts on bolts that go all the way through the frame, and getting two ratchets, one on either side of the nut, that the head of the bolt and the nut on the other side, is a tough task for one person. I've spent, well, let's see, about hour and a half, going on 2 hours now, and I have a bolt, one singular bolt, removed. So we're gonna press pause on that, and we'll come back to that when I have a second set of hands. I want to take this opportunity to publicly apologize to my Uncle Gary, because I have a very vivid memory of when I was a kid. He was talking to my dad about working on a Volkswagen Beetle. My Uncle Gary and some friends of his were working on. And Uncle Gary said something about, you know, a whole day and a case of beer to get one motor mount bolt removed. And I thought to myself, well, that sounds like you're not trying very hard. I didn't say anything out loud. I was smart enough not to do that. But I understand now, Uncle Gary. I get it. It's not easy business. Anyway, so we're gonna wait on that. I put the car up on a jack stands because that got me better access, but that's not helping. So we'll put her back down and we'll get back to grinding rust off and priming. Cheers. I really thought it was going to be easy. Well, okay. there's still plenty of daylight left, but I'm getting tired. I'm plenty dirty, and well, I'm ready to be done. I need to clean up anyway, and I got to push the car back into the garage. We'll get some rain coming in tomorrow, which is unfortunate, you know, for actual Memorial Day. But that's the way it goes. So, not as productive a day as I hoped for. We did get some rust and some gunk knocked off. I used after I got it knocked down, pretty much to bare metal. I used this prep spray that cleaned it up real nice, and then rusty metal primer to give it a nice base coat. I went for thickness instead of, you know, evenness. That's fine. It'll be all right. So we'll end this episode here. The important thing is I got some work done. I haven't actually done anything on the car in probably, well, let's see, this is coming up on the end of May now. I think the last time I actually did any wrenching was when Dad and I took the engine completely apart and then took it to the machine shop, where it still remains, and that's my fault. I need to, we'll get there. I needed to make forward progress, and I did. I got something done. It took me a long time to do it, but I got it done. Forward progress is what's important. So the engine is still at the shop. I need to figure out what I'm gonna buy as far as the new valves and lifters, so that the machinist knows if he needs to bore out the valve guides. Once I get off my ass and figure that out, then he can, if he needs to, bore those out and we'd be done. And then I can have the engine back and I can get the engine painted and we can start the reassembly process. So that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. If you're enjoying what's going on, if you want to keep seeing, if you want to know the next episode comes out, like and subscribe and hit the notification button. If you know somebody who's into cars, especially if they're into Chevys, classic Chevys, and they might have some pointers they can give me, push one of these episodes to them. That first 6 months episode just prior to this one, that's a good primer, intro to what's going on. I've definitely improved in my production and my editing. I got microphones now, so we got better sound. So things are improving, and if I can build a bigger audience, then I can have more fun. So anyway, enough of shilling for myself. Thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next episode. I gotta get this old girl put back in because we don't want to get it rained on. All right, I'll see you later.